Welcome to Psychic Girls Next Door. We are your hosts, Lili Moreno
and Shannon Miller. This podcast is for all spirituality enthusiasts and psychics next door to share tools, experiences, and spiritual practices that align with your highest vibrational self.
So in today's episode, we will be talking about the energy of gratitude, and how fitting because this episode airs on Thanksgiving Day, which is a national holiday in the United States and Canada, where they celebrate the harvest and other blessings of the past year. So this holiday is like a moment where people give thanks and then spend time with their relatives and friends. You know that I did not grow up with Thanksgiving.
Do you have, I guess, like a replacement? That's a weird word. But
we do not. So if this is your first time listening, I am born and raised in Brazil, and I've learned about this traditional Thanksgiving when I moved to the U.S., where people, you get together with family, there's like a big meal and you eat all day long, and then you're in a food coma for the next few hours. And then it's also like a time where people, I guess, go to that Black Friday shopping.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Which is like the next day. And I thought it was just so strange.
I mean, like an outsider perspective, or like, not someone who like grew up in the U.S. So my family never did Black Friday. Mm-hmm. I mean, we didn't really have the extra money to do that, but a lot of people, like I know a lot of my friends' families did Black Friday. And now with like sustainability and like, trying to be sustainable, I think Black Friday has kind of like gone out the window.
Yeah, I think after the pandemic, too, we couldn't actually like gather in overcrowded places. And I guess they found other ways just to kind of have like an ongoing sale.
Yeah.
But I thought it was so strange that people would, give thanks to whatever they had on Thanksgiving Day. Right. And then the next day they were like basically on each other's necks.
Capitalism.
To get that,
like a deal
that
on a
TV.
Yeah.
And I was horrified. And I still think it's pretty strange. But, and then you guys eat very specific foods too on Thanksgiving.
Yeah, I'm never a fan of this.
Yes, I am not a big fan either. And I thought because like I didn't grow up here, so it acquire like a specific taste.
Yeah.
And if you're not familiar with the Thanksgiving meal, so there's very specific things that, kind of with the fall theme, right?
Yeah, like turkey,
pumpkin,
mashed potatoes, pumpkin pie,
pecan pie,
stuffing, like cranberry sauce.
Yeah,
there's like a green bean casserole.
And I was like, just never was like a big fan of it. So I think I was never like really into like the celebration itself, but I do get like the this energy of being thankful and appreciating what you have.
Yeah. I feel like Thanksgiving is totally a baby boomer holiday. Like, or even like the silent generation. Like, I feel like they kind of set the tone with like the types of like weird foods. Cause if you think about like what you're eating, if you think about if it was someone who like grew up in the 30s, 40s, 50s, they kind of just got whatever ingredients they had and like kind of put it all together. And there you got it. Oh, throw in some green beans. We got a green bean casserole.
Yeah. Like, and people just like came up with stuff probably like along the years. But I know it's also like the most important holiday here in the U.S. Because I grew up like the most important holiday being Christmas, right? Because I grew up in a very like Catholic oriented country.
Right.
And then when people would ask me, oh, what are you doing for Thanksgiving? I'm like, nothing.
Nothing.
And people will look at me like, oh no, it's like the most important holiday. You have to join us. I'm like, okay.
I feel like it's like, I feel, religious connotation aside, the holiday season of Christmas is probably more appreciated than like Thanksgiving. But that's I'm biased because I don't eat meat. I'll eat like fish, but like I don't eat turkey. I don't eat like the weird combination casserole stuff. A lot of people like, love to just like binge eat on Thanksgiving. And I'm like, that's just like not my vibe. And I don't like what I'm eating. Like I'll have mashed potatoes. I usually eat before. Ever since I was young, I've always eaten before. If you're smart and you don't like the food, eat before. So I don't know. I feel like, yeah, it's like a mixed bag. Christmas, Thanksgiving, they're kind of like hand in hand, but
yeah, but it kind of also, I think it's, I don't know, at least I can only say here in Northern America, I would say like Thanksgiving kind of kicks off like the season like of gratitude, right? That's when
like
people like giving back. People have like the food drives, donations.
Yeah.
And that's where people are, and this is where they gift others and things like that, so I kind of maybe people get more in that season of gratitude, which, I understand. At the same time that it kind of, the whole holiday theme, it kind of, it brings all these feelings. But I also like growing up in a very religious country too. This theme for me of gratitude has a little bit of this added pressure. I don't know if it feels that for you, but it's like, oh, you have to be thankful for what you have,
Right.
You have to. It doesn't matter. Otherwise, you're not considered like a good person.
Yeah. I mean, there is a connotation with like, if you're not grateful, then you're not a good person. Or if you're not thankful, you have to go to list like 10 things you're thankful for. Like I know in school growing up, they would have us list all these things and like, make hand turkeys and all of that. And it's kind of like that indoctrination of like, it's almost like you get to just like show up and be thankful for that one day. But if you think about it, like, how have you been showing gratitude the entire year?
Yeah, exactly. It's not only those like few weeks of the year, but like on a daily basis, how do you connect with this energy of gratitude? And I think there is a little bit of a difference between being thankful and being grateful.
Yeah,
at least in my opinion, I would say like being thankful, it's more like this. It's like this feeling of like, oh, thank you for doing something for me.
Yeah.
Whereas gratitude, I think, is more like an appreciation.
It's like a core, deep level feeling for me. Yeah.
Where you like appreciate whether this current moment or what somebody has done for you. But it's kind of like, it's interesting too that I always I will hear people complaining about things and, I will always ask, well, but is there anything that you're grateful for in this situation? And it doesn't necessarily mean that it has to have something that is you have to be grateful for, but I think it helps to shift the energy of whatever you're going through. Like right now, I have to say, I am not in my greatest, highest vibrational states. And, but I do, dedicate a moment, like, especially I think before, like, I fall asleep just to pray and just kind of list a few things that I'm grateful for that day.
Yeah. I think that's such an important thing to do, especially if you end your day, if you start your day with a gratitude practice. I think it can shift like how you're feeling about the day-to-day life or whatever you're going through. Like I'm always super thankful for my cat. So like being able to like coexist with her in this life, like how amazing is that? So like you can be as meta as you want to, or you can be as micro. Like I'm so thankful I have really nice tennis shoes that get, that protect my feet on a day-to-day level, or like whatever you're thinking of.
And you're still allowed to feel however you feel. I feel like a little anxious, but I'm still grateful that I do have a roof over my head and that I'm healthy. So I can, go on with life's journey. But, I feel that sometimes, especially I think spirituality too, there's this, kind of this narrative of, you have to be grateful.
It's like the shadow of spirituality.
Grateful, like, is everything, and it's the answer to all and all.
it's almost like kind of mirroring perfectionism in spirituality in a way, like, you know, these concepts of gratitude and even just being spiritual and being mindful. All of it has this like, almost like being able to, it almost feels like, how can I say this? Like, kind of striving towards something in a way on some days where, like, you know, if you think about, like, it's not a thing that we should strive for. It's a thing that just exists, right? Like,
yeah, it's like a state of being.
Yes, it's a state of being.
Yes. And it seems also the narrative is also about like, well, you know, you just whatever you are, whatever you have, that's it. Mm-hmm. You know, it's kind of like a little bit putting a limitation around, well, you should be grateful what you have.
Right.
And then
almost like shame, like the shadow, like
a little invalidating.
Yeah, invalidating. Like, you know, oh, you should be, like, that should energy.
Exactly. Oh, I have to be grateful.
Right.
So the should and the have to.
Right. And then it puts like guilt in your space if you're not in the energy of gratitude. You know, when someone does, oh, you should be grateful.
Yeah, because it's not
gaslighting.
because not every day you wake up in this, you know, bliss of gratitude.
Right.
I mean, this would be so unrealistic for me to say that.
Oh, totally.
Because I do think that you can be grateful for whatever, maybe it's the situation is teaching you a lesson. Mm-hmm. But you can still want more.
Oh, absolutely.
You know, you're like, no, but I still want to, you know, have better things in my life. I want to have a, you know, do this and that.
Right. Like,
I don't think one excludes the other.
Yeah. Like, I'm grateful for this and I want more, or I'm striving for this, or I want to achieve this, whatever, you know, like practicing what it feels like to be grateful for what you have. But I fully, wholeheartedly agree with you, like still knowing that you deserve more and you want more, and that's okay. So, yeah.
But gratitude also helps me in a way just to stay present, because I look at it and say, okay, I am grateful. So it's like this awareness and of accepting what I have now instead of looking at or focusing on the lack.
Right.
Which I think would be kind of like the opposite.
I think that's a healthier
sort of energy, right?
Yeah, I think like, you know, focusing on what you have versus focusing on what you don't have. I think that's like the light side of gratitude. It's like the shaming of like, you should be grateful. That's more like the shadow side. Cause like everything has shadow and light, right? So being able to be grateful for what you have and still it's both exist, right? Like
yep.
Being able to practice
two truths belong in the same reality.
Exactly. So I think if you're very new to the concept of like practicing gratitude or not really sure, like what does that feel like in your body? It's almost like it helps to make a list of what do you appreciate in your life? Because I think gratitude and appreciation is very, very similar to me. Like, what do you appreciate? What brings you joy? Like, what could you absolutely like not live without? Or like, you know, someone who adds to your experience, someone who makes you laugh, whatever those feelings are, like kind of like not to be toxically positive, but the lighter energy, the higher frequency feelings.
Yeah. And it feels good to be in the state where you appreciate things in life, because it's an acknowledgement. Mm-hmm. You acknowledge whatever it is, and it doesn't have to be only the good things, because people associate, you're only grateful for the positive things, which of course, you know, we are grateful for the positive things, but also acknowledging and appreciating that there are challenging moments too that teach you a lot of things and help evolve and grow. And there is a sense of appreciation into that. At least I feel that helps me to get where I want to be. Yeah. Or where I am today. Because, you know, that's where you learn.
Right. I love that perspective because like I went through like a shitty job experience recently. I mean, who hasn't? And I think if I didn't practice gratitude pretty consistently, like, you know, in my life, or my perspective, my attitude, my outlook. Like, if I think before this meditation work that we've done, I don't know if I was present enough to even be fully grateful, if that makes sense. But now that I have like the tools that we have, and just more awareness of like being grateful for what you have, and understanding like it's okay to still want more, I think being able to like practice gratitude does come a little bit easier when you are feeling more positive.
Yeah, or things are flowing.
Or when things are working out, right? But
absolutely.
Like, how do you practice gratitude when things may not feel like they're working out or flowing as easy as they were?
Yeah,
like,
you're going through challenging times, and then the last thing that the person wants to hear is about being grateful, or being this energy of gratitude when they don't even feel that way.
Right.
So it's challenging.
Yeah.
You know, and I think we're human, so we probably all go through that type of feeling where it's really hard even to find things to be grateful because you're in such a state of suffering.
Right. Like if you had a mentee B and you just like,
and life is hard, there are a lot of hard things that are happening in your life, whether a loss or, I also went through, we're talking about shitty jobs.
Mm-hmm.
We're on the same boat where things did not work out. But it was interesting that I only saw the benefits of not being in that job anymore after I was kind of like got kicked out of it.
And that's gratitude.
And that is the gratitude of it. I was like, because then I sat with myself, I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm grateful that didn't work out.
Right.
I'm grateful that things didn't really align because it wasn't meant to be, and I would be miserable. I just knew it.
Oh, totally. If you
know, so sometimes the gratitude factor might come maybe afterwards, not necessarily like when you're in that the moment, that challenging moment. Might come later when you realize there was more to it, or maybe there's a lesson.
Yeah, I think like I'm most grateful for information and experiences, and like that's how I kind of categorize how I practice my gratitude, like, my experiences with the creatures who live at my house, or like with people in different places, through learning experiences, like going through a job and be like, okay, I now know what I will not tolerate. I want to be respected. I want, like, it's more for like this human experience that we're all experiencing together. Like, how do you, kind of recognize like what works for you versus what doesn't work for you. And I think going through shitty job experiences or any experiences, it can provide you a lot of insight and enlightenment towards like what you are looking for, and narrowing down kind of like your target range for like the next job or the next time you go on that trip, or like, oh, really glad I learned that I need to, buy a pass to enter this place, or whatever it is.
Yeah, it's almost like a blessing in disguise.
Yeah.
Like at the moment, it's hard to see it, but afterwards, somehow we ended up like realizing what was lying underneath all of that. But I think another word that I use instead of using this word like gratitude, because gratitude sometimes feels so like big and grandiose. I also say I appreciate it.
Yeah.
I appreciate it. I appreciate just having a laptop where I can do my work.
Right.
And I can stay connected with people. I appreciate the water that I drink, so it keeps me hydrated and alive. So I think also like appreciation, it's all kind of connected.
Yeah.
But it's this acknowledgement that you're like, okay, I notice all these things. And so if there's an energy.
Yeah.
That you kind of like, you recognize.
Yeah. I also think of like gratitude as like not taking what you have for granted, or people,
yes,
or
absolutely.
places, whatever it is. And I see like if somebody is consistently helping you, and if you are a person who doesn't have the social awareness to say thank you, or I appreciate it, or it's so easy to say those two phrases to somebody. And even if you are not a words of affirmation person, I am. I'm going to say thank you. I appreciate you for anyone who helps me, whether it's opening my door or at the grocery store, whatever it is. And like, you know, not everyone is verbally comfortable expressing their feelings in this day and age of technology that we're in. But I think being able to at least show it, because if you offer them help in the future, or, you know, they might have connected you to somebody, you can connect them to somebody. So it's kind of giving back, and that can be a way of like kind of practicing gratitude from an acts of service, or, you know, that type of way to practice gratitude.
Yeah, well, it creates like a ripple effect. What you do for others, they might inspire them to also pay forward.
Mm-hmm.
And I love that. Sometimes you just plant the seeds.
Yeah.
You know, to people, because again, with energy, it's like attracts like. So the more you are in this mode of appreciation, just recognizing things either big or small in your life, I think the energy that complements that will always be matching that in your space. Because if you're focusing on the lack, or being indifferent to things or things like that, then you're going to attract more of it.
Right, exactly. I mean, law of attraction, I had been feeling like kind of mentally unwell. It's like lately, I don't know.
That makes the two of us lately.
Some days are better than others. And I was just like, someone had reached out to me on LinkedIn and asked me, like, oh, you have such great experience in your career growth. Like, how did you do it? And I just like started crying. Like, this was like 2 days ago. I just or maybe yesterday. It feels like 2 days ago. And I just started crying because I'm like, I don't even have a job. What advice can I give somebody who, like, I'm like, that's so nice. They see that on my resume. I'm like, would a recruiter see that? Can someone who's going to hire me see that?
But I think it's amazing that I think the universe speaks to us in many different ways.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like it was probably a way just to remind you.
Right. Because you can feel really unworthy and like kind of like unvalued and like, oh, I'm never going to get a job. And then I went down a rabbit hole on TikTok of looking up like, what's the job market look like? Oh, it was depressing.
Yeah, because then you're conditioning yourself.
Right.
Unconsciously.
And you're matching the energy of whatever you're consuming.
If you see things, it's going down, you're going to believe it's going down. That things are going to go down.
Like, oh God, it's like a hopeless, pit for me, like whatever it is. And then that person messaged me. I haven't replied yet because I literally drafted up this like sad sob story.
But what a blessing to have someone just to remind you, you are a great professional and then you have great experience and I don't know if you know this person personally.
I don't at all.
Yeah, but just by looking at your profile, they thought you're very inspiring already.
Yeah.
And I think that's amazing.
No, that is amazing. And it kind of made me kind of take a step outside of myself, not to like put my full power or personal power into a stranger's words, but it made me, kind of be like, okay, maybe I am not in this dark pit as I have been feeling, or like, I need to take a step back. And then I was like really like having a mentee be about like just not having much progress until I was like, fuck this feeling. I don't want to feel down. I started listening to the Audible of The Secret, and I had read the book in 2020 and it did a lot of like good things for me at the time. And I was like, I just need to listen to like positive affirmations, like the energy, the frequency that I want to personally run at. It was like it was a very like when Elle Woods got into Harvard, like, like what, like it's hard, like let's flip the energy. And honestly, like, then I had 2 people reach out to me, one for maybe this was on Wednesday. So one for an interview today that I had, and I'm moving forward to the next round, which is great. And then the other interview is through a recruiting search firm, and they're going to submit me for a role. And it's like, I hadn't heard in weeks, like it was crickets, because I was feeling internally like, whether that's ingrateful or like not worthy, whatever those feelings are, I was kind of attracting that.
Yeah,
in
you're
my
just
life.
projecting to the outside world.
Exactly.
That's basically what it was. But I love the fact that you are intentional with shifting your energy, because I want people to also realize that, just recognize and say, I'm feeling shitty today.
Oh, totally.
It's okay.
Yeah.
We all have our shitty days.
Yeah.
But like, how can I intentionally shift that?
How can I feel better?
Or shift my perspective.
Yeah.
And great that you mentioned that, because whenever I get into those funky moods, I also tell myself, I don't force myself to get out of it, but I intentionally will find ways to kind of make my environment feel better, whether it be, listening to like uplifting speeches, like motivational things, a podcast like ours. Hello. Yeah. Surround yourself with people also that, they're make you feel happy, that you connect with, or just find things that bring you a little joy.
Yeah.
During the day. Even can be food, can be a TV show, just to kind of like get you out of,
good.
just to shift that, that icky feeling.
Yeah. And like whatever makes you feel good, whether that's like, eating chocolate or going on a walk. Like for me, going on a walk always helps my mental health. But if I'm in the pit and I can't even leave my house, I decided to put on The Secret and take a shower. And that reset, like literally the shower is such a cleansing experience.
Yeah, it's just simple things like that you can do at home. You don't have to spend money, but just know that you're not alone. Even us psychics too, we struggle because we're humans, but we can always, find ways to shift that energy, shift the perspective, send us a message. If you are feeling not in a state of gratitude, or maybe you do have lots of gratitude, but we do have gratitude for everyone that is listening to this episode and joining our community. So please follow us, social media, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, and thank you so much for listening, and we'll see you on our next episode.
Thank you so much from the Psychic Girls Next Door.